they begin talking, and then Malchus says, hey, I'm going to go and watch the cart as you guys go in. You know how dangerous the temple is. Got to go watch that cart. You wouldn't even believe the type of people who would try to steal that cart. And clearly it's not the actual reason why he's going, but he says that there. Then Rabbi Zebediah begins to read out this criteria that you have to be pure of before you can come in. He says these things. He says, the past 7 days you have not touched a corpse, touched a mole or a mouse or a lizard, come into contact with a menstruating woman, or a chair which she sat on, or a vessel that she's used. And then he says, or had a seminal discharge in your sleep, been diagnosed with leprosy, or eaten unclean foods. Okay, so we'll break this down in a second, but he basically asked them, like, Zebedee, are you good with all that? And Zebedee's like, yeah, I'm good. I haven't done any of that stuff. And then he looks at John, and John's like, and then Malchus grabs him and says, okay, maybe you should come in and sit with me. We'll watch the cart together, and they go off on their own, and Zebedee goes into the oil chamber with Rabbi Zebediah. Now here, Malchus and him have a conversation, and I think a lot of people misconstrued this conversation because I got a lot of comments that were like weird, right? That were weird about this. So first off, Malchus says, you know what? You should wait outside with me. And then they talk about why they're disqualified. And clearly Malchus is kind of joking with him and talking with him, but John says leprosy. Now we know the one that stands out in this one as a whole, right? And that is clearly the seminal discharge in their sleep. What does this mean? Well, it means that they've had a wet dream. Okay. And everybody should know what a wet dream is, right? I shouldn't have to explain that. But essentially, that's what they're saying. They're saying this is an added thing on top of the law that the Rabbi Zebediah, wanted to make sure that people were even more clean past what the law says. Now they begin talking about the law, and they talk about how old men are punishing us for having bodies, is what Malchus says here. Obviously, a wet dream is a normal thing that happens, especially to young men, but even any men, right? As that's kind of a normal thing that a body will do. And they talk about a lot of different things here. So I saw some people misconstruing this and thinking that they were talking about like masturbation, which is just, it's not the case. Here they're talking about a wet dream, right? So this is an awkward thing, but